Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Delia Gilipat's Virtual Open Day. I'm Moasma from 4B, and I'll be your MC for today.
大家好，歡迎大家嚟到地利亞吉里徑嘅開房日。我係4B 班嘅安美詩，我會今日做你哋嘅 MC。
We really appreciate each and every one of you to join us on Zoom for our virtual open day. Due to the pandemic, we couldn't have our open day as per every year. In order to prevent the spread of coronavirus and to maintain social distancing.
我哋非常感謝大家今日星期六抽時間嚟參加我哋嘅 Zoom。
Our agenda for today consists of a video of Gilipath, IB information session, student admission process, demonstration of our school webpage, and last but not the least, we'll have a Q&A session at the end.
好，咁我哋而家一齊睇下一條關於吉利徑嘅短片先。
Welcome to GP。
吉利徑歡迎你，歡迎你。
吉利徑歡迎你。
吉利徑歡迎你。
Welcome
to GP。
歡迎嚟到
吉利徑。
Excuse me, is the video started?
Yes, we've started the video.
They said they start.
學校嘅 core value。Come to learn, good to serve。其實中間咧仲有一個我哋喺呢個 core value 我 read 咗嘅一句，就係 success with integrity。其實3句説話加埋咧係我哋 school mission 嘅簡化版嚟嘅。GP Lover 其實佢係等於我哋嘅 GP attributes。係我哋每一個老師、每一個家長期望我哋嘅學生能夠透過學習而成為嘅一個 whole person， 當中包括 LOVER， 每一個字代表每一個唔同嘅特質。L 等於 learner，learner 每一個人都能夠自我學習。O open-minded， 每個人都能夠目光遠大。V veracity， 即是每一個人都能夠忠誠同埋真實。E empathetic， 每個人都有同理心。最後 R， 每一個學生能夠 respect 每一個人，亦都 respect 每一個 regulation。
落地啊！
地利嘅精神，我哋知道係叫做有教無類。其實有教無類嘅含義，亦都啟發咗我哋將佢變成 IB 無類。點解我哋會考慮提供 IB 呢？原因 DSE 係滿足唔到我哋學生嘅需要，因為 DSE 嗰個課程佢嘅要求係相對比較單一，佢升學嘅選擇亦都造成咗局限。 IB 喺香港亦都出現咗個貴族化嘅現象。點解會咁樣呢？我哋經常問，點解個學生要起碼付出8萬幾嘅學費先能夠完成到1年 IB 課程呢？呢啲都係令到我哋想提供俾我哋嘅學生多一條出路。IB 似乎就係我哋可以諗嘅一個方法。我哋第一年嘅學費定咗喺25,000蚊呢個水平。25,000蚊其實包咗好多嘢㗎啦。佢唔單止係學費，而且學校亦都會善用呢啲學費嘅來源呢，我哋會配備佢哋需要用嘅電子器材，包括 MacBook 咧，仲有呢個 textbook。因為 IB 嘅 textbook 咧，佢嘅印刷商唔係喺香港嘅，咁所以學校咧專登為佢哋咧喺唔同海外地方咧訂購咗適合嘅 textbook。IB 最大嘅挑戰係揾到合適有質素嘅老師，而我哋學校有3大來源揾到呢個合適嘅老師嘅。第一，喺呢間學校，我哋有唔少已經有質素嘅老師，我哋經過培訓之後，可以將佢哋培訓成咧適合嘅 IB 老師。另一個來源呢，就因為透過我以前喺其他地方服務嘅經驗，認識到唔同國籍、唔同族裔嘅朋友，而佢哋亦都對 IB 係非常之有興趣。第三，透過唔同嘅聯繫咧，結識到唔同嘅人物，而佢哋亦都可以為學校介紹好多有質素嘅老師，當中包括 Teach for Hong Kong。
咁你上年係咪去咗 IB 嘅 professional training 啊？
係啊，我上年去咗新加坡嗰度。當我發現喺個 workshop 入邊都學咗好多嘢，咁當中啦，老師同老師之間嘅 sharing 啦係非常之好，因為佢哋無論係佢哋個人教學經驗啦，以至係個share 個 learning material 或者係點樣同學生相處，佢哋都毫無吝嗇咁樣去同我哋分享。
You know, I actually shared a very similar experience when I was in Beijing doing my university counselor training. We actually had teachers come all the way from the US and Canada and China and Hong Kong, of course. And throughout the process, the university counselors were extremely nice in terms of sharing resources, materials that they've used in the past to guide students during the university counseling process as well.
我上年都係去咗北京喎，同埋我覺得真係有好多唔同世界各地嘅老師一齊聚集咧，我覺得嗰3日嘅 workshop 更加係即係作為一個 IB 嘅畢業生，我覺得係有用過我 IB 學嗰2年嘅知識，真係好 inspiring。
In GleanHub, we embrace a bilingual and multicultural education, where our students are encouraged to interact with each other in both English and Chinese, so that their language proficiency and a mutual understanding of cultures can be developed at the same time.
So as you both know, our school is very diverse. There's people of different cultures, Chinese, non-Chinese. So you guys, with your first language is Chinese, I want to know what difficulties did you encounter in learning English so that you could communicate well with the non-Chinese students?
In my experience, both of my parents are Chinese, and we only speak Chinese at home. We never speak in English. So I could only learn English through speaking to foreigners, maybe, or maybe teachers who were from Hong Kong. So I think when in a school with so many non-Chinese classmates, I really had to work hard to be able to get my meaning across to them. And I feel like spoken English and written English is quite different. So when doing English conversations, it doesn't necessarily work the same as me studying English in class. So I think the key is to speak more, speak to my classmates more, in order for my English to improve.
English is hard for me because I speak Chinese in my family, and English is quite a lot of ways to learn. Can be watching TV, videos, and even in school we speak in English. 除咗喺學校入邊可以有唔同嘅變化之外啦，我自己都發現自己變咗好多。我而家發現咧，我自己可以同唔同嘅國家嘅人去溝通啦，我唔會去排斥人哋啦，同埋咧係真係學到好多嘢。
Me, since I came to this school, I learned to accept the cultural differences, to accept myself, and I learned so many new cultures. I made many new friends of different countries.
For me, the biggest thing here is that I feel like there's so many perspectives of how we as students can see Hong Kong. And that shouldn't be limited by how different we are. We're all the same, we're all in this together.
學校嘅語文政策係盡量鼓勵每一個人，包括老師同學生，都盡量用佢哋嘅 L2 Second Language 去同溝通接觸。就即是話，中國籍嘅同學會用多啲英文，而唔同國籍嘅同學就盡量用多啲中文。我除咗係一個 GP lover， 我亦都係一個 tennis lover。我好中意打網球。想像下 Federer。 佢係一個瑞士人，佢應該 mother tongue 唔係德文就係法文，但係點解佢喺頒獎禮嘅時候會用英文同人溝通？因為佢哋都有一個好好嘅 second language 訓練。
如果要形容学生和老师的关系，我会说成是鱼儿和海洋的关系。在这里的学生，他们就像海里面的一群鱼，活泼自在的在海里面游。作为老师的我们，当然希望他们能找到自己喜欢的事情，发展自己的兴趣。作为老师的我，觉得自己是海洋里面的水，和学生的关系密不可分。看着学生在水里面自由自在的游动的时候，我也觉得非常的开心。我也希望能把这一群的鱼儿引领到更加广阔的海洋。
If you ask me what I enjoy the most about my students, I really appreciate how we look out for one another and help out one another like a big family. हामी ग्लिपाथमा एउटा ठुलो परिवार जस्तो छौं। हामी एकअर्काको एकदम धेरै माया र एकदम धेरै ख्याल राख्छौं।
As an educator, I believe in the importance of not only teaching our students important life skills, but also teaching them to become respectful and generous individuals. Bilang isang guro sa GleePath, gusto kong matutunan ng mga estudyante kong maging magalang at mapagbigay.
"很多人都说，老师就是学生的明灯，指引着他们往前走。其实这只是其中的一种关系。在我们学校，师生关系不只是建立在教与学的基础上，老师也不单单是知识的传递者。我们希望学生可以像调色盘那样，可以拥有不同的颜色，而在谈天和说笑之中，也不忘互相成长和学习，从而建立出真正的亦师亦友关系。
我覺得喺吉利敬校，老師同埋學生嘅關係就好似平板電腦同埋支筆咁。老師就係支筆，為學生輸入唔同嘅知識，同埋帶領你哋發揮創意。而學生你就好緊要啦，因為你係嗰部平板嘅電腦，你要處理同埋學習好你吸收到嘅知識。所以吉利敬嘅學生，你要努力啊！
作為一位老師，如果想同學生建立一個友好嘅師生關係，我覺得最理想嘅當然係同學生建立到亦師亦友嘅關係啦。除此之外，老師應該建立一個好榜樣俾你嘅學生，咁樣一嚟喺學生嘅心目中建立一個正面嘅形象，可以喺學術交流，抑或係品德教育方面都可以事半功倍㗎。
GP 老師親切友善，將學生視作為獨立嘅個體，亦都當佢哋好似朋友一樣。所謂敬人者，人行敬之。老師對學生尊重，亦都令到同學之間感受到老師嘅關懷同善意。咁樣當然可以消除師生之間嘅心理距離啦。Oh, great job! Well done! 平等同友好嘅氣氛可以幫助到教學同埋輔導嘅工作。
我認為學生同老師之間嘅關係就好似演員同導演嘅關係一樣，導演需要俾足夠嘅指引佢嘅演員，話俾佢哋知究竟應該點樣做先至係一個好嘅演員。但係同時間亦都需要俾佢哋足夠嘅空間去到自由咁樣嘅發揮。咁所以作為演員就好應該好好咁樣思考一下，究竟應該點樣做先至係做得好。
In order to prepare our students for IB and DRC, we arranged many different study tours going all around the world to broaden their horizon. Melbourne, Romania, United States, and many other cities in Asia. Other than that, we also have more than 41 different extracurricular activities in order to help them to develop their skills. Apart from that, we also have our house system and GP family to help their internal growth. Academically, we provide many cross-curriculum subjects as well as school-based curriculum to help them to learn better in GleePath. So now, let's take an in-depth look of how GleePath curriculum looks like.
吉利記為嚟自唔同國籍、唔同背景嘅學生製作唔同嘅課程，令到佢哋得到最適合、最平等嘅學習機會。通過全人教育，培養學生終身學習，追求個人特有嘅學習歷程，盡己所能，回歸社會。喺語言教學方面，吉利記針對唔同族裔嘅學生需要，而進行雙語課程，以加強佢哋嘅溝通能力以及社會嘅競爭力。
The school's teaching and learning programs are guided by the belief that all students, regardless of their background, deserve quality education. This is why our teachers are fully committed to their students' learning, as showed by their willingness to explore new pedagogical initiatives and their strong academic backgrounds.
For secondary 1 to 3, GleePath offers a school-based curriculum that combines recommendations from the Curriculum Development Council and best practice from around the world. We also emphasize cross-curriculum, including subjects like performing art, research and inquiry, and STEM. For secondary 4 to 6, our school offers a local Hong Kong DSE curriculum and IB diploma program.
吉利記實行一人一 iPad， 透過平板電腦加強學生學習動機同師生互動，照顧到唔同學習需要嘅學生，提高學與教嘅效能。學生亦可根據個人嘅進度學習，促進自主學習。電子學習資源發展小組更定期分享教學心得，提供適切支援。
以提高教師運用電子教學嘅能力。
This year, one of the major concerns is to help the students to develop a positive well-being. We help our students to develop a social responsibility and become self-disciplined. By doing this, we have to set up a GP level as the goal of our students' personal development. Our student support team meet regularly to discuss the student issue and find our students who need support and help. We also run a comprehensive program to help the students overcome the social and emotional issues. Students with special needs are fully supported in the school by the guidance team, 2 social workers, and an education psychologist. We provide individual and group counseling for students who need support in both personal growth and academic aspects. We also provide a study tour for our students. Our study tours always have an education element. The study tour provides them a chance to build a closer bonds with their classmates, experience new environment, and a day away from the classroom.
Địa理吉利徑嘅學生嚟自唔同嘅族裔，無論學生嘅國籍、宗教、家庭同學業水平，我哋都會透過多元嘅學習活動，等佢哋循序漸進咁達成學業及個人目標。例如，本校曾多次邀請超過40幾間機構舉辦升學及就業生涯規劃博覽會，提供多個免費交流團，例如澳洲、加拿大、美國、羅馬尼亞等等。另外，為咗準備學生將來升學及就業，每位學生都需要準備個人學習歷程檔案，以收集學生嘅作品、證書及反思。吉利徑每一年都會提供約80萬嘅獎學金，以鼓勵學生喺不同範疇嘅成就及支援畢業學生升讀大學嘅部分學費。只要你敢想敢分享，我哋都會盡所能幫你實現夢想。
Frankly speaking, GP is not big, but fully equipped. This is our newly renovated gym, and this is our school new covered playground. Don't think that this is the entrance of the time tunnel. It is our school matrix, in which you can find computer room, STEM room, and VA studio. Though it is not the time tunnel, you may have a feeling that you can pivot to future technology here. Let's come visit our school library, which is called Reading Land. It lets our students enjoy reading in a relaxing environment. One place that I can't miss is here, Pick and Pay. What a special name, right? So Pick and Pay is a small-scale cafe in which teachers and students serve healthy but low-priced food here. Students simply pick the food that they want and leave the money here on their own. Besides the aims of serving healthy food, Pick and Pay is also established because we want it to be a collaborative project in which students can learn communication skills, collaborative skills, even accounting competency in this project. more importantly, we believe that Pick and Pay is a project which cultivates love, care, responsibility among our Gili Pathers. These are all features that what we value. So if you also have the same value as ours, please join our GP family.
We hope that you enjoyed this video and got to know GleePath a little bit more.
Now we will have our IB information session. May I welcome our IB coordinator, Mr. Paulo, to tell us more about the IB program. Mr. Paulo, please.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Paulo Yap. I am the IB coordinator and the English department head here at GleePath. So first of all, thank you so much for joining us during this first virtual open day at our school. And I would like to commend also our MCs, Moazma and Mercy, for doing such a great job welcoming the parents and the children. So after watching the video, I think there are many elements there that can really relate to what we are here as a community here at GleePath. And I'm just going to take some time talking about a very important part of what we want to offer to our prospective families, parents and children, especially when it comes to the IB, which I think many parents and children have heard. So I'm just going to give a brief info session, and towards the end, I will be open for Q&A as well during the time for questions and answers. So I just want to mention 3 items in the agenda. What's the IB, Academic Pathways in GleePath, and why take the IB at GleePath. So what's the IB? I just want to ask a couple of questions to all the participating parents and students here today. The first one is, what characteristics or qualities would you like your children, or yourselves if you're just children, to have by the end of Form 6? Okay, so just have a moment to think. Is it about academics? Is it about whole person development, the worldview, emotions or feelings or mental capacities? So what would these characteristics or qualities be? And when you have a couple of these answers down in your mind, hold them and then ask yourselves the next question. What are the sum of the characteristics that you mentioned in the mission statements of the HKEAA or the EDB? So the HKEAA is the organization that makes the public exams in Hong Kong known as the HKDSE. And the EDB is short for Education Bureau, which is the de facto Department of Education here in Hong Kong. So would you find those characteristics and qualities that you identified in those mission statements? So let us look at both. So according to the HKAA's website, their vision is about being an exam and assessment services provider. So being world-renowned and well-trusted. And when it comes to their mission, they want to talk about, again, the range of assessment services that they offer to meet the educational and societal needs of Hong Kong. So you can see from this mission statement that it's fundamentally about being a preparer and maker of tests. And then if you look at the EDB's website, their mission statement talks about providing quality school education for our students and to develop their potential to the full and to prepare them for the challenges in life. So here we're getting closer to what students can be like, what their vision for Hong Kong children can be. But then if you look at their mission, it talks about how they want to deliver professional services and more effective resource use, and then forging partnerships. Now, of course, both are very helpful in looking at this vision of trying to be a good education provider for students. But to what extent are they really focusing on the student, the child, and the child's whole person development? So I believe that these are the elements that IB focuses on. These are the things that make IB not just attractive to many families, but also strong as a philosophical concept of what education can be. So if you look at the IB mission statement from their website, it's actually 3 paragraphs long. And then I highlighted some of the keywords that you can see here. So I underlined inquiring, knowledgeable, caring, intercultural understanding and respect, international education and rigorous assessment, active, compassionate, lifelong learners who understand that other people with their differences can also be right. So here you can see a combination of what you also saw in the EDB and HKA mission statements. The fact that they want to provide education that relates to the world, the fact that they provide assessments or tests. But here we're focusing on what envision children to be after doing the IB program. That they ask questions, that they have better knowledge about the world, that they also care about not just themselves, but their community and the world out there. And their understanding of how learning can be is predicated on the idea of respect, tolerance, empathy, compassion, and that learning is something that does not end after secondary school. So you can see that here they seem to have a more holistic view of what education can be for children. And in a way, I think one of the reasons why many parents are looking at many schools right now, especially if your child is in the primary school, is that you're not just looking at Form 1, you're also looking at what happens later in the secondary school, right? So to what extent have parents really started thinking about the programs that their child would take in the senior secondary part of the education system? So are they going to take the local HKDSE system, which lasts for 3 years? Or are they going to take the IB diploma program, which lasts for 2 years? Or another curriculum that is offered by the UK or the US? So in a nutshell, what is the IB? I think we can just reduce it to this phrase. The IB is a 2-year globally recognized program that prepares students to thrive in university, careers, and beyond. So unlike the DSE, which lasts for 3 years, as I've said, this is only a 2-year program, Form 5 and Form 6. It is globally recognized because it's not just available around the world, but universities know about it. And when I talk about university, careers, and beyond, I wrote here the word thrive. So it's not just about getting in to a university or getting into a dream job, right? It's about doing well, succeeding, excelling, and thriving in those spaces. So it's not just to get your foot in the door, it's also to grow and develop in that particular choice and pathway. And here on this map from the IB website, you can see that, wow, like all the countries that are in blue offer, or at least have one school that offer the IB program. And the ones that are in gray are the ones that don't currently have. And you can see that they tend to be like North Korea or Afghanistan or Yemen or Somalia. But for most of the countries, the IB is widely available. And many parents particularly like the IB program because they want their children to develop critical thinking skills and to have a balanced view of education. Because in the IB, it's not just about academics, but it's also about activities and the whole person, so to speak. And the worldwide recognition is very helpful. Your child can be learning the IB in Hong Kong, but they can go to New Zealand, or they can go to South Africa, or they can go to Brazil, or they can go to France, or they can go to Canada and still be recognized for what they have studied in secondary school. And one of the things that I personally loved about the IB, it's also because I did the IB before when I was younger, is that it has a vision of the different things, specific things that it wants children to have. So it's related to their mission statement as well. So you can see here 10 words, nouns, adjectives, that relate to the traits that children should have, according to the IB, that they should be thinkers. So it's not just about receiving information from books or from teachers, but they process their own thinking capacities. That they're reflective. So they do things or they think about things and then they ask themselves, what did I learn from this and how can I be better? Open-minded. We are currently faced with a lot of often dissenting and different views, right? So to what extent are we going to understand where those perspectives are coming from and then arrive at a proper response? Risk takers. A lot of people seem to enjoy staying in their safety bubbles. So to what extent can we take risks and make changes that are necessary? And also the last two at the bottom that I really like, the idea about caring. So I mentioned this in the mission statement earlier, but it's really true because humans are not just about the brains or the minds, but we're also about the heart and our interconnectedness with our fellow human beings. And last but not the least, principled, the idea that you can succeed, but at what cost, right? So to keep our integrity, to keep our honesty, these are important features of the IB program. And the other thing that I especially like about the IB is that it explicitly talks about the kinds of skills that it wants students to develop in our lessons. So for teachers who are trained in the IB, we have to consciously incorporate these skills in the development for our students. So when we design lessons or units, or the whole curriculum, then we need to make sure, okay, our students are learning these skills for this topic, in this task, for this assignment. And we are making sure that they develop over time. So you're looking at thinking skills or social skills, communication skills, self-management skills, and research skills. Especially research skills, because if you're thinking about university and even jobs that require a lot of knowledge and resourcefulness, then clearly research skills are so crucial in the 21st century. But when we say take the IB, right, so what does it really mean? So at an academic level, the IB structure is like this hexagon. So you have 6 groups, groups 1 to 6, and they belong to different subject elements. So you can see here 2 languages, groups 1 and 2. Then you can see individuals and societies, which could be like social studies or humanities. For group 3, group 4 is about the sciences. Group 5 would be about math and computer science. Group 6 is the arts, which includes visual arts, drama, theater, filmmaking, and music. But at the center, what connects all of the 6 ones are basically the core, the beating heart of the IB diploma program, which includes 3 elements, right? So if you're an IB diploma program student, and the diploma program just talks about the IB program that is taken at the last 2 years of secondary school. So you take 6 subjects, 1 from each group. If you don't want to take the arts, then you can take another one from the other subjects. So they do give that exemption. And then at the end, you will also write a 4,000-word paper, which is called the extended essay. So it's any topic that the student is interested in based on the availability from the teacher standpoint, but also from what the IB announces every year. And this one is really scary if you look at the numbers, right? Because for those of you who are not familiar, in the English exam for DSE, paper 2, the longer task is only 400 words estimated, okay? So this is like 4,000 words. And you might think, oh, that's really crazy and scary. But if you think about it, the preparation that goes into making one is something that really empowers students to succeed in. And then once they've written 4,000 words, then when they go to university and then they have to write 500 words or 1,000 words or 3,000 words even, they'll be like, oh, I've done 4,000 words, so obviously I can do this, right? So it's not an impossible task. So it does build confidence as a student and as a learner. And then when you have to write an even longer one, like a thesis or dissertation, then at least you can look back at your extended essay and say, you know, I did 4,000 words, then let's make 5,000 words or 6,000 words or even 10,000 words. At least it helps them along that learning process. And there is an interesting class called TOK, or Theory of Knowledge. So this is really about like the whys and hows of knowing and learning. So it's interesting because it's not a typical class that's offered in secondary schools. So how are we questioning our assumptions? How are we looking at the sources of our knowledge? How do we know like the fake news or the news that we might have doubts about, you know, especially now. And as you can see, the amazing doodle shows the engagement of the idea that knowledge can come from even art, not just through books, not just through history, not just through memory or authority. So I would suggest the TOK is really good for students because often in Hong Kong, I just get the sense that many students receive education as if they're truths and facts, and often there's no space for questioning which I think is an important process in learning. And the last one is about the extracurricular activity part, which is called CAS, or Creativity Activity Service. So it really leads to the balanced education I talked about earlier. And it requires not just involvement in ECAs, but commitment as well. How do you stay committed to a cause, and how do you develop your leadership skills along the way, and how do you reflect on your experience? So this is really the structure of what the IB diploma program is. And so in GLE Path, what are the academic pathways for a student, right? So you start with the junior secondary school section, which is forms 1 to 3. And then in form 3, you have a choice. So you can either take the DSE path, which is forms 4 to 6, or you can take the IB path, which is 2 years long for form 5 and form 6, so year 1 and year 2. But for the form 4 year, we have what we call a plus program, which is a program we developed to help prepare students down the IB path, but also give them a chance to switch back to the DSE if they feel like they would be better off in the local program. So I just to talk about the plus program. So we've developed this. It stands for Progressive Learning and Understanding for Students. So this is not part of the IB, but this is sort of like that year that prepares them for both. Okay, so the English class is about literature, so poetry, short stories, drama. Global issues will be the focus for liberal studies. And then there is a research and writing focus, because that is really important to succeed in the IB program. And then there will be close consultation with our CAS advisor over the participation of your child in the ECAs, right? So is your child progressing along the requirements? Is there reflection going on? Is there leadership going on? And the last one is in-depth university counseling, not just for Hong Kong universities, but also overseas. So if your family has plans to move to the UK or move to another country in the world, then our school can help you identify the pathways to those that meet the requirements, and then figure out the options that your child can have. But then we're not just waiting till Form 4 to prepare students for the IB. So we've also started changing our Form 1 to Form 3 structure to better prepare students in advance. So how do we prepare our students to have that choice, that informed choice, right? To take the DSE or the IB program. So we've redesigned the curriculum in English for Forms 1 to 3. So more authentic reading, more authentic writing, more authentic speaking, and including literature components. So it's moving away from English as a second language, more to traditional, to the typical English learning that happens in English-speaking countries. We've also instituted grouping arrangements for math and Chinese, so to reduce the class size, but also to better address the diversity in the performance of our students. And then we've also introduced a set of interdisciplinary subjects, because right now, we still have the traditional subjects, but we also believe that the 21st century is about connecting these different subjects together. So we have STEM, performing arts, research and inquiry, and culture and identity. And all of these subjects begin in Form 1. So even research and inquiry, your child will start doing research tasks and assignments as early as Form 1. And then in Form 3, we have what we call elective preview subjects, like chemistry and economics, so they can practice a bit of specialization, but also, if they end up not liking it, then they can switch to another one for Form 4. So just the last bit, why take the IB at GLE Path, right? And I want to just summarize this section by saying 3 things. So one about the staff, and then the structure, and then the spirit of the IB here at GLE Path. So for staff, all our IB teachers are officially trained by the IB. So this is a requirement to be an IB World School. Okay, so that goes without saying. Most of the training takes place overseas, but because of the pandemic, a lot of it is taking place online these days. And many of us are actually IB graduates. So this is a very interesting point that I like emphasizing, because often when a school offers the IB, the teachers know what to offer, how to teach the subjects. But if you did not go through that experience of taking the IB, then sometimes it's not so easy to put yourselves in the shoes of your students, right? So the fact that we, including myself, have teachers who have done the IB, who have gone through the system, we can not just sympathize with our students in their struggles or celebrate their successes, but we can also empathize with them and see and make changes according to what we're seeing and observing from their experience. And many of the teachers have degrees from top universities in Hong Kong and overseas. So we know the articulation from either the DSE or the IB into where we want children to be in after secondary school. Structure. So we have clearly defined academic pathways from forms 1 to 6, as I've shown, right? So this is not just a 2-year program at the end, but the preparation starts early, form 1. And then in forms 1 to 4, we have classes that maximize preparation and choice. So this is really something that empowers students towards the end, because often if you just take the traditional system in Hong Kong and then push the children into the IB program, often there are gaps that cannot just be quickly remedied or bridged. So that's something that we are trying to address early on as well. And we have one of the smallest class sizes for the IB. Just to let you know, our IB year 1 this year, there are only 12 students. And our smallest class size is 1. We have a couple of classes with only 1 student. So it becomes like a one-on-one private IB teaching arrangement, So if you're in schools where you've never experienced this, it's an incredibly different arrangement and experience if it's just you and the teacher. But this is also what we offer. So we basically said, according to our principal, Dr. Chan, that if there's 1 student who wants to take the subject, then we will offer that subject. And the last one is the spirit. Okay, so many schools in Hong Kong actually offer the IB, not just the diploma program, but also the earlier years, right? So what positions GleePath, in a unique context here? So the first one is the idea of equity-driven IB. And this is really the fundamental mission of what Dr. Chan, our principal, had in mind when he spearheaded the development of the IB here in GleePath. So when we're looking at the phrase IB for all, which you've probably seen in the leaflets and the prospectus, it's really about giving a chance to students who want to take the IB, but they're concerned about cost. They're concerned about the quote-unquote elite nature of the IB in Hong Kong. They think, oh, the IB, isn't that only for rich people? Isn't that only for like schools that like charge $100,000 or $200,000 a year? And we want to demystify that. We want to eliminate that from the calculation, that you don't have to be those kinds of students to enjoy good quality education and more empowerment for your future. So that's why we have the lowest costing IB diploma program school fees in Hong Kong. Right now, our tuition fee this year for the IB is $20 per year. And the next lowest costing one, I guess, is about 90,000, 90. So you can see that we're like almost like lower costing by a factor of 4. And that really frees up a lot of resources for families so that you don't have to put all of your budget into your child's education. Because of course you want to give your child the best education, but you also don't want to cut corners in other priorities that need to be followed and adhered to in your homes. And in spite of the school fees, we also give full scholarships. So some of our students don't actually pay for the IB. In part of this equity-driven IB, which is really the spirit of IB in GleePath, is that we fully subsidize course books, laptops, tablets, and graphic displays, calculators, and even field trips. So they don't need to pay. We lend the course books to our library. We give them an MacBook Air. We give them an iPad tablet. And then the Texas Instruments calculator, which often costs like 1,500 Hong Kong dollars. And field trips, assuming we can resume them. So cost is not an obstacle, and if your child wants to take the IB, then he or she can do it, provided that, of course, he or she meets the requirements of our school. So that's it, staff structure and spirit. And as the IB coordinator, I would like to welcome you personally to our school if you can pay us a visit. So thank you so much. I will stay for Q&A towards the end. Okay. Thank you.
唔該 Mr. Paulo。
然後我哋會邀請 Miss Kwan 講下入學嘅資料。Miss Kwan, please.
Yes, thanks our MC. Hello everyone, I'm Miss Kwan. Welcome you again for joining us. And I'm going to talk about the admission procedure, which is very simple. So it just takes you a few steps and then you can become one of our Gilly Pathers. Simply come to our school official website, find the page admission. Then you can have the detailed information here. There are two ways you can have our application form. So the first one is to come to our school general office to get the form, and you can fill it in and hand it in directly also with the supporting documents. The supporting documents that you have to hand in are listed here. The second way of handing in the application form is through the online platform. So come back to this admission page again, click apply now. And then you can have the online application form. So simply fill in all the information required and submit. Then it will be okay. If you hand in the form online, then please also submit us the supporting documents when you come to have the interview. Once application is handed in, interview will be arranged as soon as possible. We will call you for the interview arrangement. So when you fill in the application, please make sure you fill in a phone number that we can reach you. One interview will be arranged, and the first batch of interview will be held next Saturday, 14th of November. Results will be announced as soon as possible also after the interview is conducted. You can find also information about the school fee and school fee remission here. Come back here to the admission page, click school fee and school fee remission scheme, and then you can have detailed information about our school fee and school fee remission scheme. We offer a fee remission scheme with a set of eligibility benchmarks, no less favorable than the government financial assistance schemes for needy students. So hope to see you to be part of our GP family soon. Thank you, and I will pass the time back to our MC. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Kwan. Thank you, Ms. Kwan. Can you please stop this screen share? Thank you. May all the participants please scan the QR code to bring you to our school webpage. Our school website is deliagp.edu.hk. www.deliagp.edu.hk. Thank you. Okay, so through our school webpage, you all can have a 360-degree virtual tour. Through that, you can have a better look at our school facilities.
透過我哋嘅學校網站，你可以睇到我哋學校有唔同嘅設施。
You can also get to know more about our school staff and teachers through our school webpage as well.
So when you click Glee Pathers, there's an option called Staff Profile. Through that, you can see our teachers and our school staff as well. 咁你撳 Glee Pathers 嗰陣時啦，你就可以見到 Staff Profile。喺嗰度你可以見到我哋學校嘅老師同埋唔同嘅職員。
There's also a gallery where you can find photos from different events that our school has organized, such as our school morning assemblies, bridging programs, and so much more.
There are also videos about the subjects that our school provides. You can check them out.
So once you click Virtual Open Day, you can see all the subject videos. Now we will be playing a short trailer of these subject videos. 依家我哋會有個問答環節，如果你哋有問題想問嘅，歡迎你哋喺下面留言俾我哋。
If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Hello.
Okay, this question is for Dr. Chan. Dr. Chan, one of the parents asked us, how can the school help the Chinese and non-Chinese students? Dr. Chan, please.
Hello， 大家好，我係 Dr. Chan， 歡迎大家嚟到呢個 session， 咁咧亦都提出大家嘅問題。到底我哋點樣可以幫呢個唔同國籍嘅同學咧，可以融入呢個香港呢個社會，或者咧融入呢個學校呢個生活入邊咧？咁其實咧頭先喺嗰個介紹嘅過程當中咧，大家都見到咧，就學校嗰個辦學嘅宗旨其實係提到過好多次咧，個 multicultural 嗰個字。其實 multicultural 咧，即係多元文化係一個現象，係一個事實。我哋學校咧就有超過20個唔同嘅種族嘅人士咧喺度讀書，或者咧喺度服務。咁其實咧面對住呢個現象，或者咧香港其實就係等於一個呢個 multicultural 嘅一個城市。咁但係到底係咪一個美好嘅城市咧？咁樣其實就係我哋要係向住一個目標咧，係去辦學嘅。咁喺呢個 multicultural 一個環境咧，其實我哋要做到嘅咧就係一個 intercultural。intercultural 咧就即是話唔同嘅文化、唔同嘅種族、唔同嘅語言咧之間嘅人士咧可以互動嘅，可以互相學習嘅。咁要做到呢一樣嘢咧，我哋有3個字咧，大家可以提醒無論喺預備入嚟讀書嘅同學仔或者家長，佢哋都要有呢個心理嘅準備。咁咧呢3樣嘢咧就係包括咧第一個係 O 字嘅 open-mindedness。喺頭先唔同嘅同事喺講述學校嗰個過程入邊嘅時候咧，都提到呢個字 open-mindedness。Being open-mindedness, it means that you have to open up yourself. You are going to accept all different kinds of people, and then you can actually learn from them, and then we appreciate the differences among different people. 因為有呢個唔同嘅 開放嘅性格咧，我哋先至可以咧就係同其他種族嘅人咧就互相欣賞同互相溝通，就互相學習。咁咧第二個字母咧就係 start with you， 就係 understanding。呢個字咧就係即係一個過程，我哋咧係要 understand people，understand why they think in such a way。咁頭先亦都係咧唔同嘅speaker 咧都曾經講述咗呢一件事。咁我哋嘅同學咧，希望佢哋入到嚟嘅時候，面對住咁多唔同嘅人種啦、唔同嘅語言啦，我哋可以喺嗰個過程當中咧，就係互相去了解。去到最尾咧，就係 start with our respect。咁咧呢個咧就係嗰個成個教育過程嘅最終嘅結果。咁樣每一個人咧能夠互相尊重，能夠互相咧就係欣賞。咁所以三個字母夾埋咧，其實好容易記嘅啫。O open-mindedness, U understanding, R respect, OUR. That's our education in GP. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. So Kevin asked, when is the last date of the admission? So can we pass the time to Ms. Kwan to answer this question? Ms. Kwan, please.
Maybe you repeat the question.
Oh, sorry. Kelvin asked, when is the last date of admission?
Oh, I see. Actually, we open application for the whole year. However, of course, please understand that the seats in our school is limited. So if one is full, then our application procedure will still continue, but the applicant will be in the waiting list. So our application period is last for the whole year. Thank you for the questions.
Thank you, Ms. Learn. So someone asked, oh, sorry, thank you, Ms. Kwan. So someone asked, do we have any study tours in our school? So can we pass the time to Ms. Learn to answer this question?
Oh, hello. Yeah, sure. We provide 5 to 6 study tours every year. So each study tour has its own purpose, target group, students, and a specific criteria too. Usually, the study tour are offered to S2 to S5 students. And 2 years ago, we went to Vancouver, Romania for the portfolio study tour, San Francisco for the youth leadership program. And we also have a study tour to Malaysia, Taiwan, and Beijing and Nanjing, all right? So I think also I took 8 students to Vancouver to join the JA entrepreneurship program. Before the tour, students had to start up their own business in Hong Kong. And they had to design their products and sell them at the trade fair in Hong Kong. So in Vancouver, they had a chance to present and share their business ideas with the JA directors and the students in Vancouver High School. So this study tour experience definitely had a great impact on their personal growth and broaden their business horizons. So and also in Vancouver, we visit our past students who were studying in Douglas College, okay, at that time. But last year, because of the COVID-19, only one study tour could be organized to tour to Nepal during the Chinese New Year holiday. Students visit the rural areas, offer teaching English lesson in the local school, and work in the farmland and stay in the host families to experience the local culture. Well, all the effort spent on each tour, I think is worthwhile, as can develop the student teamwork spirit and independence. At the same time, it challenges the students to move forward in their life, not afraid of obstacles. Well, I hope your kids can join our study tour this coming year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Learn. So someone asked, for non-Chinese students, do they choose the DSE or do they choose the IGCSE curriculum? As well as if they choose the Chinese subjects, will other subjects be taught in English? So can we pass the time to Ms. Fong to answer this question? Ms. Fong, please. In Chinese. Ms. Fong?
Repeat the question.
咁有人問咧，俾非華語學生佢哋係咪揀 DSE 或者揀中文嘅 IGCSE， 同埋如果佢哋揀中文嗰陣時，其他科目係咪用英文教？
其實咧，因為我哋學校咧就會提供唔同嘅課程啦。咁正如頭先所講啦，咁我哋有DSE 嘅課程啦。咁非華語嘅同學咧，我哋都會有 IGCSE 啦，同埋 GCSE 嘅課程嘅。咁而其他嘅科目咧，我哋都係有中文同埋英文咧去提供嘅。So for the student study in our school, we have the different Chinese curriculum. For the local student, we have the DSE curriculum. For the NC student, we have the student will take the IGCSE. For the other subject, we also can provide Chinese and English material and the examination for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fong.
So there is a parent asking, do GP provide any support to students interested in applying to overseas university? May I please pass the time to Mr. Yannick Yu to answer this question? Mr. Yu, please.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mr. Yu. Sure, definitely. At GP, we certainly support all types of applications, whether in Hong Kong or overseas. And actually, this year, GP, along with Mr. Leung, our other university counselor as well, we started the Pathways program, where we provide a 5-step path process where we help students who are interested in building their profile, who are interested in studying overseas, to explore the different pathways that are suited to them, to help them compare and discover the right programs, and ultimately prepare and craft the best essays and applications for overseas universities. So for students who are interested in, UK, US, Canada, this year one of the students is also interested in studying in the Netherlands, for example. We certainly offer many different pathways, and we support many different pathways for universities as well, in addition to Hong Kong, of course.
Thank you, Mr. Yu. So another parent asked, does the career counseling assist in identifying the kid's interest and strength and guide the kid in choosing the subject in IB program? Can we pass the time to Mr. Paulo to answer this question? Mr. Paulo, please.
Yes, thank you for the question. Yes, so we have a very strong counseling program in Form 3. Actually, remember, since we are also a DSS school, of course, the school's main priority is the DSE. So when we advise students in Form 3, we actually talk to them about both the DSE and the IB programs. So at least they have a better idea of which path they actually want to take, and that would be better for them. And then we can also talk to parents who would like to have a conference with the school about their children's elective choices. So that's part of our structure here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Paulo. There's another question.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes, Ms. Gordon.
Regarding IB program, like my daughter, she is studying in another school, and she is in Form 3. I'm in Form 4. So now for the next year, Form 5 and Form 6, like she wants to take the IB program. So can she switch the school to GP?
Good question, actually. Many parents have asked that question as well. So right now, because we, remember, as part of our equity-driven philosophy here, we want to prioritize our GLEPAC students. So in order to apply for the actual IB program, your child needs to be enrolled here in Form 4. So they cannot just do Form 4 in another school and then jump to our school for the IB program.
Thank you, Mr. Paulo. So a parent asked, what is the cost of going to the study tour? So can we pass the time to Dr. Chan to answer this question? Dr. Chan, please.
Sure. 唔該晒美斯，咁咧就提到嗰個 study tour 嗰個費用嘅問題咧，其實同我哋 全個辦學嘅概念咧係連貫嘅，因為咧我哋知道咧喺好多學校入邊，佢哋組織呢個 study tour 嘅時候咧，好多時候嗰個費用咧都會由嗰啲參加者咧就承擔啦，又或者咧就承擔一定嘅部分啦。咁我哋舉辦 study tour 咧，其實就係絕大部分咧都係由學校咧去付費嘅，由學校咧就係喺嗰個預算入邊咧就係撥咗一定嘅費用出嚟咧係去舉辦呢啲 study tour 嘅。咁所以咧就I think the students who are going to join the study tour, right, they just prepare for their own pocket money, right, to buy souvenir for their friends and families, and all other costs, right, will be the school will take care. Thank you, Macy.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. So a parent asked that, so their son is in Form 5, so should they apply this year or next year? And how many students did they intake in Form 1? So can we pass the time to Ms. Kwan to answer this question? Ms. Kwan, please.
So our capacity of each form is 123. So as I mentioned just now, we have the enrollment application for the whole year. So if parents are interested, so you can simply go to our school website and fill in the form. And then if we have capacity, then the vacancy left, so we will contact you and arrange the interview. Thank you.
So thank you, Ms. Kwan. A parent asked, their son is currently under the Ontario program, grade 11. So can he join the S6 of the IB program this year? Mr. Paulo, can we pass the time for you to answer this question, please?
Actually, no, I'm afraid. So as I've said earlier, in order to apply for the IB program, the child needs to be enrolled here in Form 4. Now, for this year, for our first cohort, we have made some exceptions. So we have a couple of students who were in the Form 5 DSE program in our school who switched to the IB program. So that is something that can also happen. But the problem is often like we need to be mindful of how many years a child needs to spend in secondary school. And in order to get the IB diploma program, you need both years, Form 5 and Form 6, in order to fully qualify for the diploma.
Thank you, Mr. Paulo. There's another parent asking that what's the ratio of student nationality in the school? They mean that how many countries are the students from in Delia GP? Can I please pass the mic to Dr. Chan to answer this question? Dr. Chan, please.
Thanks for the question from the parents. Altogether, as I mentioned before, altogether we have 20 nationalities, right, spread from among the students. So the majority of them, right, I would say the first 4 ethnicities, right, would be Indian, Pakistani, Nepalese, and Chinese. Thank you for the question.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. So another parent asked, how does the school help students who are interested in the non-IB program for the DSE program? So can we pass the time to Ms. Pong to answer this question?
Ms. Pong, please.
Hello，咁其實咧，除咗我哋學校裏邊咧有IB 課程啦，都有 DSE 課程嘅。咁 so for the junior form, so actually we have our school-based curriculum. For example, we have the Chinese school-based curriculum, the mathematics, history, research and inquiry. All these subjects to develop the students' communication skills. 咁除此之外咧，唔單止有我哋校本嘅課程啦，仲有一個嘅跨學科課程 cross curriculum。咁透過呢啲咁啟發性嘅活動啦、學習活動咧，就可以鞏固學生唔同嘅學科知識啦，進行咧唔同嘅研究啦。提升咗同學嘅學習動機，都希望佢哋能夠咧可以自主學習嘅。除咗有 course curriculum 之外咧，咁我哋都會有一啲嘅 online 課程啦，配合呢一個嘅跨學科課程嘅。同學啦或者咧老師咧都可以即時喺網上咧做一個嘅交流，然後咧有即時嘅回饋。其實我哋學校咧就有啲唔同嘅課程啦，去幫呢一班嘅學生嘅。
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fong. So another parent asks, are there any preferences given to Delia primary students while accepting applications? Can we pass the time to Dr. Chan to answer this question? Dr. Chan, please.
Priority will be given to the DDS schools graduates, right? Because they are sister school, and we believe, right, the students from DDR, they know the philosophy behind the school, right? And to us, right, we feel that, right, they can adapt to the school, right, easily, because they have been studying in a multicultural environment for quite some time. 不過咧，就其他嘅同學咧，就我哋都一樣咧，係雖然嗰個 priority 咧係我哋會有啦，喺個收生嘅過程當中，咁但係因為佢哋喺一個多元文化嘅環境入邊咧係長大，因為喺兩間地理小學咧，其實佢哋都有一個多元文化嘅環境，一路係由小一開始咧就係培育上嚟嘅。咁但係其他嘅學校嘅同學咧，我哋都一樣係歡迎。咁我哋都係開放嘅，就好似我哋辦學宗旨一樣，我哋係 open-minded。只要同學咧佢係願意喺一個多元文化環境學習咧，我哋都係一樣歡迎嘅。Thank you。
Thank you, Dr. Chan。咁有另一個父母就問咧，數學有冇分唔同班，好似 M1 同埋 M2？ 可唔可以派個時間俾 Miss 方我嚟答呢一條問題？我哋會交俾我哋嘅數學 panel head 去答呢個問題。
Hello. So for our senior form, we offer M1 extended part. So we offer the NSS curriculum as well as M1. So we do not offer M2 yet, but hopefully if we have more students applying for M2, we are also considering to M2。咁其實除咗普通 DSE 數學之外咧，我哋亦都 offer M1 嘅，係暫時喺中五同埋中六。唔該。
Thank you, Mr. Khan. So another parent asked if there are any future career and study support. So can we pass the time to Mr. Chow to answer this question? Mr. Chow to answer this question. Mr. Chow, please.
Okay. Hello, I'm Mr. Chong. So the question is about the way to help the students to get into university or study. Okay, so actually the school encourages students to have multiple pathways or think more carefully about their pathway, also support them from helping them to get into different pathways like further study or professional training about a certain job. So in the secondary school, at first we would help them to do some personality tests or career orientation tests. So in order to let them know what their interests or what job suits them or what subjects suit them. And then we also help them to have some CV workshop or various consultation part in order to let them to know which subject they are interested in and then which subject are suitable for them. So we also have different visits to university in order to let them to know more about different university and also the university life. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chong. So another parent asked, what are the percentage for taking in existing primary students for the school to the secondary section, or is it a must for existing students to go to secondary section? As well as would Delia primary students have a higher priority to get into Delia? So can we pass the time to Dr. Chan to answer this question?
Mercy, can you repeat the question again? I did not hear.
Okay. So they're asking, what are the percentage for taking in existing primary students of Delia to the secondary section? Or is it a must for Delia primary students to go to the secondary section?
Oh, thank you. It's not a must, right? As a matter of fact, we are quite open about admission, right, of students into our school. And so, as I said, if you are open-minded indeed, so that you can actually communicate with people, and you're willing to learn from other people, like learn even their cultures, and you are open to speak in a second language, as I said, then we would welcome you to come. Right? Thank you.
So thank you, Dr. Chan. So just now, a parent is asking to follow up since they've mentioned a course curriculum. So how can you follow that up, Mr. Law? So can we pass the time to Mr. Law?
Yeah, actually, about the aims of the course curriculum, we try to enrich students with knowledge from different subjects. For example, they will learn how to use from ICT lesson, from the CL lesson, they will know how to plot graph using Excel, as well as the meaning of the graph under the teaching of the math teachers. However, for example, they need to form a research question, so let's make them data meaningful to respond to some of the questions. So that's why in this year, in Form 1, we are going to ask students to do a research project about how to improve GP. For Form 2 students, we are going to ask students to do a project, for example, how to reduce the wastes in GP. So that's why they need different techniques and knowledge from different subjects to support their point of view in the project. That would be the aim for the cross-curriculum learning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Law. Now, there are some questions about IB. One of the students is asking, can students get into the IB if they are in Form 5 second term and if they studied Form 4 in GP? And another question is that a parent is asking if their kid shall take IB, if their kid take IB curriculum, however, for university, they want to study in Hong Kong. What are the possibilities? Mr. Paulo, please.
So I will answer the first question, and then I will pass it to one of our university counselors, Mr. Yu, for the second question. So for the first one, we have had some families with current Form 5 students in other schools inquire about getting into the IB. Of course, again, we do not currently accept students straight into the IB program, so they have to at least have spent some time in Form 4 in our either the DSC or the Plus program. It doesn't really matter. So what ends up happening for some students is that if they're willing and if their parents agree, especially, to allow them to go back to Form 4 and then finish the rest of the year and then apply for the IB program, then that's a possibility. But one, there's no guarantee that our Form 4 students actually will get into the IB. So there's a process that includes interviews and literacy and math assessments. So often that process, in a way, identifies which students are really ready and which ones would probably be better off in another curriculum. And then the other issue is it also affects the child's history of learning in school. So again, it's not just repeating Form 5, it's actually going down 1 year and then doing 2 extra years later. So it's not an easy decision. So that would probably need a conversation between the family and myself, and also our admissions director, Ms. Lam. Mr. Yu, can you answer about the articulation of the IB for local universities?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Mr. Paulo. A lot of parents are sometimes concerned, like, oh, if I take the IB program, could my child still apply for Hong Kong universities? The answer is actually yes. For Hong Kong universities, there is a non-JUPAS route for the IB program as well. And for students, for local students who have Hong Kong residency and whatnot, you are still eligible for the local tuition as well. So just because you're doing the IB doesn't mean that you have to pay an international tuition to study for Hong Kong universities. The other thing I would like to add is that actually for Hong Kong universities, they actually look very favorably on the IB program as well. As a matter of fact, we've taken a look at a lot of different statistics, and we've actually found that for certain programs, if students do well, we actually find that the IB might be slightly even more favorable than the DSE for certain programs as well. So certainly for parents and students who are interested in the IB program as a way to enter Hong Kong universities, that's certainly not a problem, and that's certainly applicable for all of our current students as well, because that's certainly a destination that a lot of our current IB cohort students is thinking about as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Yu.
Thank you, Mr. Paulo and Mr. Yu. Now, one of the parents are asking both of us that do we enjoy our school life in GP and how we feel about the school and the teachers teaching? So Mercy, can you answer this question first?
Okay, so then personally, I'm in the IB Plus program right now, and I find it really, really enjoyable since all the teachers really, like, the teaching environment just feels so friendly and warm at the same time. So it doesn't really feel like you're in school, rather than you're with a group of people who are more like your friends, as even the teachers as well. And everything's just really enjoyable. I can just walk up to any teacher anytime and strike a conversation, and they're always there for me whenever I need them to be. And Glebe Path overall is just a great experience from Form 1 to Form 4 so far. There's a lot of ECAs, so many opportunities that I was able to experience that I don't think I'd be able to experience in another school. So for example, setting up my own ECAs, my own events, or even asking for a change in the school. But it is because that Glebe Path is willing to give me these opportunities to be able to express myself even more. And I think that's why I really like the school. Yeah.
So to answer this question, we really enjoy, as Mercy said, we both really enjoyed the school life that GP gives us. Mercy is taking Plus program, while for me, I'm taking the DSE program. And both of the programs are really good in their own perspectives. But then, yes, the teachers are really understanding in this school. That's a huge thing for this school, that whenever we have some problems, we encounter any sort of problems, we never hesitate to go up to the teachers. They're always willing to listen to us. And overall, the environment of GP is really good comparing to other schools. GP is always there for you. And for the activities, because IB and DSE both requires you to, form some sort of activities or organize them. And for that, Dr. Chen never, whenever we approach him with a proposal, he'll say yes right away. And he will also sponsor our activities and everything. So that's a really good thing that we students can organize activities in the school as well.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, so another question is that a parent asking if English is the medium of instruction in Delia GP, and as well as in English language, whether sitting for IB or DSE exams, like what are the differences comparing the two? So can we pass the time to Mr. Paulo to answer this question?
Thank you for the question. So the English medium of instruction here is predominantly English for most subjects, with Chinese used in obviously the Chinese subjects, but we also offer Mandarin ab initio in the IB. So both Cantonese and Mandarin are used in our school. Now, we also have a principle called two-way immersion. So we definitely encourage students who are native or near native speakers of one language to also learn in the other language. In terms of the differences between the English DSE and English in the IB, so for me, I think I also taught the DSE before, and then I'm teaching the IB now. I feel that one of the key differences is its conception of what English is. So for the DSE, it's often English as a second language. So you have a lot of multiple choice, true, false, not given. A lot of I would call basic question tasks, because the assumption is that the students are not really able to really excel in English. In fact, in the local DSE, if your English is really good, then you take the DSE elective called Literature in English, which I also taught before. So it's not integrated into the regular English curriculum. Now for the IB, it's integrated. So you get to learn about language, but you also learn about literature. So the expectations are higher, but also a challenge. The IB English curriculum challenges students more to think about not just what English is, but how they appreciate the language and how they can use it not just for everyday context, but also for universities and careers.
Thank you, Mr. Paulo. Another parent is asking, what is the cost of studying IB and GP? Dr. Chan, please.
Talking about the cost of studying IB in GP, as mentioned before, Mr. Paulo has mentioned the number, right, which is 25,000 per year this year, and Mr. Paulo 都有提到咧，就係話其他嘅學校即係做咗一個比對嘅。咁其實Mr. Paulo 都有提到就係話嗰個學費其實唔單止係學費啦，咁佢都係有其他，即係我哋都計算埋咧就其他嘅支出。咁咧就係有呢個每一個同學咧喺呢個IB 嗰個 DP 嗰個 Year One 嘅時候咧。我哋都會俾一個MacBook Air 每一個同學，因為我哋知道咧嗰個 iPad 其實咧就係做呢個資料輸入嘅時候啦，或者打字嘅時候咧就比較困難嘅。咁要寫4000個字 ，one of 佢哋個功課咧其實係相當之難應付，所以咧就佢哋配備咗個 MacBook Air 啦。咁另外咧就嗰啲 textbook 頭先亦都有講過就係。佢哋係因為如果要自己訂咧，其實都要幾千蚊嘅，咁咧都係一個相當大嘅花費。咁所以呢個25,000蚊其實咧，我哋都已經係為同學咧就配備咗呢啲嘢。咁日後會唔會加費咧？我哋應承每一個家長咧，就係我哋加費嘅幅度咧，都會係以呢個 inflation 通脹咧，就作為嗰個重要嘅參考。我哋唔會貿貿然咧就係加好多好多學費，因為一路講就係我哋係希望係 IB for all， 同貫穿住咧學校一路以嚟嗰個辦學嘅宗旨嘅。Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. So another parent was asking for a follow-up question. Since I mentioned about different ECAs, are there any opportunities to let the students to initiate activities? By the way, we're only accepting the last 3 questions, but can we pass the time to Ms. Lam to talk about this furthermore? Ms. Lam, please.
Thank you so much for the question. Yes, we do allow students to develop their leadership skills as well as their entrepreneurial spirits throughout their 6 years of studies in GleePath. For example, earlier during the pandemic suspension, our students actually initiate the online virtual activities through Zoom, and the activities also shows their creativities and as well as their different organizational skills that they were able to develop in GleePath. So I believe the students in our school, they were given a lot of chances to explore different areas apart from academics in their but also in the extracurricular activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lam. So we're accepting the last 3 questions. So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. So a parent asked, do the school require students to have their own iPad or MacBook, as some secondary school requires students to have it from Form 1? So can we pass the time to Dr. Chan to answer this question? Dr. Chan, please.
呢個係一個非常之合時嘅一個提問嚟嘅。咁咧就頭先我提到咧就係話MacBook Air 咧，我哋就預備喺唔係預備啦，即係事實上就係呢個今年嘅 IB 班咧，其實已經係配備咗㗎啦。咁咧來年咧，其實我哋都有一個打算咧，就係俾Form 1入嚟開始嘅同學咧，就係慢慢轉啦，即係by phase 咁樣啦，即係透過階段性咁樣就係轉，咁咧就即係都俾呢個中一嘅同學咧，就係用呢個 MacBook Air 就代替呢個 iPad 咁樣樣。 咁不過咧，即係呢一樣嘢咧，就都係要睇成個 budget 嘅預算啦。咁雖然咧就辦學團體係非常支持我哋係推行呢一樣嘢，咁但係都因為都係即係時間尚早啦，因為都係11月嘅時間，咁我哋個 budget 咧就係會我相信應該喺2、3月度啦，我哋就會確定到底我哋係會唔會喺中一嗰度咧就係配備呢個MacBook Air 俾呢個中一嘅同學。Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Chan. So another parent asked, besides English and Chinese, are there any language that are being offered in the schools? So can we pass the time to Ms. Fong to answer this question? Ms. Fong, please.
咁咧，其實喺我哋學校啦 ，as we mentioned before, we have the TWI in junior form and senior form, which means the student can study Chinese, Cantonese, or English in this subject. Also, we have the other language in the IB, the Mandarin, I believe so, in form 5. 咁咧，同學就會有中文啦、英文啦，咁喺 IB 嘅時候咧，都可以選擇咧普通話咧作為佢哋嘅語言嘅。Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Fong.
Now, may I request all the parents and participants to please switch on your camera so we can have a group photo to remember this remarkable moment.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can everyone please switch on your cameras?
We're going to take a picture together.
Yeah, all our lovely faces. You have to stop share. I know.
Okay.
In 3, 2, 1.
One more. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay, another one.
1, 2, 3.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Before we all leave, may all the participants please scan this QR code to fill out our evaluation form.
Note that if you have any more questions that you might have missed during the Q&A section, you can ask in the evaluation form and we will get back to you almost immediately. So please scan the QR code.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. We will post the souvenirs packs to those who have filled in the evaluation form. Thank you for joining us for our virtual open day.
Thank you once again, and we'll see you in GleePath next year.
多謝大家參加我哋嘅 Zoom 嘅開放日，下年再見咯，拜拜。